Alrighty, hello everybody, and welcome back to the Mania 7 Key World Cup 2024. Hopefully you guys had a really enjoyable break between the last match and this one, because we have another amazing matchup in store for you guys here today. It is going to be the other losers bracket match. It is China taking on Japan to see who will be facing off against the Philippines later this weekend. A lot on the line for these two countries as they look to try and make their mark in this year's 7 Key World Cup. As always, my name is Sparky, and I'm joined once again by none other than Bulma Gamer PH76, also known as Silueska Els. Els, how you doing?
Oh, wow. Speaking of breaks, I just had a really good one. I ate my dinner. Because, I'm gonna be honest, when I woke up to commentate the previous match, Thailand versus Philippines, in case anyone's aware of what that is. But now, we gotta focus on China versus Japan. I hope you're doing well, by the way, Sparky.
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. It has been an electrifying start to finals weekend. Hopefully this one delivers as much as the previous one did, because these two countries, I mean, we had a bit of a showdown on the LN hybrids in the last match. These two countries, I feel, are stylistically wanting to do completely opposite things, and we can already see it from the protects. China wasting zero time protecting LN2 to start this match off.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think LN2 is the best. Honestly, I just think LN3, LN4 might have been better. But LN2 works. I do think out of all the LNs, the worst one to protect is 5, because that's something I think Japan could potentially take a break point on. Meanwhile, Japan? I think they're protecting Rice 3, as usual. I have a feeling they're protecting Rice 3.
Yeah, there's a outside shot of that. I mean, but it's going to be Rice 4, so we're going to see the Korjak map. I believe Volstead Bar is our Korjak pick, protected by Japan, which is very exciting. If you've been keeping track of Japan's scores on the Korjak picks in particular, oh boy, that's going to be very exciting to watch. And Japan answering back LN4 going to be the ban, actually. So pinching that LN pool just that tiny bit further, as China are up to ban now. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something like Rice 2 get banned out, just something very standard in terms of stylistic choice for the Rice picks. Keep those mixed Rice picks in 5, 6, and 7 around, potentially. I mean, those are also outside shots, but it's gonna be Rice 3 getting removed from the pool.
I'm not surprised, really. This is the kind of pick that I'd assume, what do they call this again? Japan would really have an advantage on. So,
yeah.
Strategy-wise, I think both teams have a sense of awareness, really, as to what they're supposed to ban and protect. I mean, I think they really studied their opponents very well. I mean, to be fair, this is their shot to top 3, and come to think of it, whoever gets eliminated here, or whoever loses here, just gets eliminated. No more second chances, really. So I can see why they'd really want to study here. So I think we'll be seeing a full roster for both teams, actually. Everyone is here. You see everyone, and that's honestly very nice to see.
Yeah, for sure. Both these countries definitely very well balanced in terms of their team composition. We've seen contributions from basically everybody on these two rosters. Would not be surprised if we saw people just subbing in and out constantly as these picks go through. But for right now, as we get into China's Protect LN2 to start this match off, it's going to be Van Wilder and Satori going up against Ensana and Butanic for Japan. As you mentioned earlier, this is a lower bracket matchup. Loser will be eliminated. It is a best of 13 format, so first team to 7 points will be taking home the victory, and a date with the Philippines later this weekend.
Well, I sure hope they enjoyed that one. But all right, let's look at this real quick, because we see. Oh, come on! I was just about to say how consistent Japan seems to be, and that just happened.
Well, they were consistent in the misses, finding them both at relatively the same time within a couple of notes of each other to start this map off. And I mean, to be fair, this is probably going to become a bit of an LN versus Rice dichotomy of a match where China is going to look a lot more comfortable on these LNs. As I say, that Van Wilder does find a drop going into the ending of this first quarter. Satori, the only FC left in the lobby. Meanwhile, Japan going to be opting for some of these Rice picks and are going to hope that they look a lot more comfortable than China on those. So could come down to those hybrid picks, see which of those maps get picked up, as Ensana picks up another couple of misses transitioning out of that section, and Satori falls as well before too long. So no more FCs left
Oh,
on the board as everybody finds combo resets. Van Wilder the only one above 4-digit combo now.
see those short releases at the very left? It looks like Satori somehow hit a little bit early, and that's gonna be disastrous. But luckily, Van Wilder held enough combo just to make sure it doesn't bleed too much. As and Sana keeps on finding these misses. Not to mention, Botanic is clearly not helping. The fact that they're lower than Van Wilder is just gonna speak volumes to how massive this advantage really could be. But wait a second. Wait a second.
Yeah, we're seeing drops left and right. Everybody finding difficulty once we get into these more chord-centric LN patterns. And depending on the varying length, just catching players out left and right. And sorry, the next two to fall is Butonic and Insana. Once again, a full combo reset for Japan. And really what's doing the difference, what's doing the damage right now is the fact that when you have 2 to 3 players finding misses all over the place, there's just somebody pulling their country through. And right now it is Van Wilder, as we approach this last quarter of the map, really digging in and pushing their way through some of these harder sections to ensure that they manage to hold on to this lead. And it has paid dividends so far, 62,000 points and climbing, as Japan struggle to find a foothold in this chart as we reach this ending.
This accuracy is clearly in the favor of the China's side. But I have to say this, we see a full 98% lobby. That tells me one thing. Accuracy wise, even if China has the advantage, Japan clearly has a chance. Look at the ratios alone. But Botanic is around Satori's ratio, and Insana's around Van Wilder's ratio. What's the difference here? That 200 come from Insana, really. That's really it.
Yeah, I mean, and that and the misses that they were finding, just not able to keep them clean enough or spread out far enough to build up any consistent combo to start chipping away at that lead. It really started to make a big difference there towards the end. But with that being said, China secure their first point on the board, and what better way to do it than on that protect? Probably not something that Japan would have ever willingly gone into, so really can't get too discouraged about seeing that score difference there. This was probably never going to be on the cards for them to go into or feel like they were favored on. So we'll see what they have in store for their first pick. Will we see the double protect to start this match off, or does Japan have something else in store for us here?
If I were Japan, I'd pick Rice 1. Because, I don't know, it just seems like the pick that Japan will be very confident to pick. Honestly, I think another one that could work is Rice 6. I had to mentally count that one. But yeah, Rice 6. Because I would assume this is a more technical pick. Okay, they're going for Rice 2. Completely not what I was saying.
Listen, we lay out the foundation, and these guys just come in with a sledgehammer sometimes because they know what they're doing. We're just here to kind of hypothesize. That's really, we're just here for show. It's gonna be Rice 2. It's going to be Japan's first pick, and we're gonna see the first of what'll probably be many tactical substitutions for both of these countries. Randomly stepping in, a full roster swap for China Turks, and Qing Jiding coming in for China.
Yeah, Turks and Qing Jiding. I'm so sorry if I butchered that. I hope I pronounced it correctly. I think, yeah, this is a very solid Rice duo. I mean, Qing Jiding, some people here would know them as QX0407. A very scary player in general. Meanwhile, here in the Japanese side, we're seeing Rain Lily and Botanic. I mean, this is the typical Rice lineup. Not surprised, really.
Yeah, we'll hope that Japan look about as comfortable as China did on that LN chart for this one. Because if they are and they're able to secure this point, then oh boy, we might be in for a bit of a show here, and we could potentially go the distance. But Japan gonna need to prove that they can hold their own against China's rice-oriented lineup.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, China has some insane consistency on the rice picks. So I don't think this is out of the water for them really. They are seed number 2 for a reason. That being said,
Exactly.
that being said though, Japan's rice, like we've seen how dominant they could be, and especially with how difficult this is. I don't think Japan has lost many rice picks really. Maybe they've lost a few of them, but Botanic finding drop Rain Lily as well. That's very surprising, honestly. This is one of the easier sections of the chart as well.
Yeah, just messing up on the transition, going back into the chord stream, and that's going to give China a bit of a cushion to work with here. Right now, Turks really holding down the fort for them, 99.7. As we transition on into the back half of the chart, once again, an opportunity for the players to consolidate some of their accuracy, begin to build up some combo as well as they mount this final assault during the last third of this chart. Japan starting to chip away at this lead a little bit, but Rain Lily missing on the chord jack transition back into these bursts into the chord stream, and that's going to help reestablish this lead for China.
Oh no. Like, I think they're really trying to take advantage of Ching Ji-ding here, but Rain Lily finding another drop. I don't think there's anything you can do really, but there's still a quarter of the map. Thing is though, if any of the Chinese players miss, it's going to affect it. Oh, but as I say that, Rain Lily trades one back. Botanic's accuracy might be one of the better ones in the lobby, in fact tied with Turks, but the consistency China has shown is proving to be a little bit too much for Japan right now.
Yeah, and China showing that they can stand toe-to-toe with Japan on these rice picks, and it has paid off fortuitously as they pick up the first break point in this match to make it 2-0. What a performance from Turks there, 14-200s, nearly a V1SS to take that break point away from Japan.
My goodness, like, look at this. Accuracy was massively in favor of Japan. Like, you cannot argue their accuracy was much better. But that consistency is the game here. China is very good at that aspect. I'm not surprised to see this.
Yeah, being able to... It's one thing to perform these in a vacuum where you have the luxury of being able to restart and really maximize the scores that you're getting. It's another thing to be able to do it on command when called upon. And right now, China, so far, to start this match off, has been able to put their best foot forward as we move on into LN3 now. So China starting to build up a bit of a head of steam as we see the more LN-oriented rosters make their appearance to Tori Van Wilder and Sana checking back in for Japan to back up Butonic as we make our way into this third map of this best of 13. China currently up 2-0.
That is actually also the first rice pick Japan lost, because in their quarterfinals match, Japan won all the rice picks, and I think the same can be said for the Australia and the Russia matches. So yeah, this is indeed Japan's first loss, and it wasn't even because of ACK or whatever, it's just the mere fact that China was more consistent overall. That being said though, look at Ensana's accuracy right now. They are releasing incredibly early. Van Wilder actually also trending towards that, but they're starting to be more centralized now. And this is the kind of LN that I just don't see. I just think China's gonna be much more advantageous here because of how dense it is. And LN density breaks so much in favor for those who can actually read the LNs more. At least for 7K, that's how it works.
Yeah, for sure. So at the moment, China reaping the benefits of this pick so far. Both of their players holding on to this consistent 99.6% accuracy, hovering in and around a couple of hundredths of a percent. Butanic doing their best to try and stay as close as possible to try and capitalize on any potential mistakes, but right now not having the support from Insana to really mount much of a comeback. Sure, starting to chip a bit of a lead, but as I say that, a full combo reset from the Japanese side gonna help China begin to extend this lead once more, 27,000 points and counting as we cross the back half of the chart.
Not to mention, look at this accuracy on the Chinese side. Both of them are at 99.50s. In fact, on the high end even. This is just insane, really. But Satori finding a drop, it's not gonna matter. 35,000 points of advantage, especially with how much map is left. This is just a very dominant performance with how dense it is. I mean, sure, it's OD5, but it doesn't take away the fact that it's really difficult to coordinate these kinds of patterns.
Yeah, for sure, it's very easy to get lost in what you're supposed to be doing. All 7 columns get inundated, and the final FC falls on the side of China. Both Van Wilder and Satori find a couple misses amongst themselves, but the damage has already been done. Nothing Japan can do to wrestle the lead back from this position, and as the map comes to an end, China will successfully capitalize on that first breakpoint to make it 3-0 now.
It's kind of weird seeing Botanic beat everyone on the lobby despite it being LN. Well,
Almost.
it works, but they really need a backup for that because it's not going to work wonders if you cannot take a break point. Because you absolutely have to. You have no other option but to take a break point off the Chinese side. 3-0 right now, and all Japan can really do, I think they have to pick Clover or Moongate. I keep on saying this, but I really think Moongate favors Japan by a lot.
Potentially. I mean, maybe just getting into some of those wackier picks might be a way moving forward, but they're going to stick to what they know. This is arguably their best chance to maybe just settle the nerves a little bit, go into something a little bit more standard. It's going to be Rice 4, so Volstead Bar going to be the pick here for Japan. And I don't know about you, Els, but my eyes are on Botanic on this pick.
I mean, wait, what does this sound like? Strong 280?
It has that vibe to it. The difficulty kind of lends itself to what you're thinking of. It definitely feels like Strong 280, but no, this is a different song here.
I know the difficulty has Strong 280, but like, it really does sound like Strong.
Yes, go listen to Strong 280 after this, and you'll be like, oh yeah, it does sound the same or similar.
Also, look at this. Why is it Strong 280 when the BPM is 140?
Double it.
I know, but it's not the same. It's not the same.
Listen, just do some mental math. It'll be fine. With that being said, we have the substitutions coming through here.
Apparently, this is the original song, according to the chat.
Okay.
So,
they
okay, maybe that's...
That makes a lot of sense. we need to learn the original names sometimes, but regardless, we have Turks and Qing Jiding once again for China, Botanic and Rain Lily stepping up to the plate for Japan here as we make our way through Rice 4. And I don't know about you, but misses are probably not going to be allowed or are going to be heavily punished as we make our way through this chart.
You know, looking at this act, Qing Jiding dropping to an accuracy like this, consistency game, I think, is what China's going for, and it's been working wonders so far. But how do you beat Japan on a core jack pick is the biggest question for me. Like, this is the kind of pick that, yeah, it's really hard to be consistent on, because every time you find a miss, you're just gonna find 50s all over the place, or in fact any 100s. But Qing Jiding's accuracy is not gonna help. But take a look at this lead. Okay, I was about to say this lead is non-existent, but that one miss from Turks is just gonna extend and make this lead from Japan already very established.
Yeah, for sure. They were looking really comfortable through that introduction. Both their players hovering at that 99.9% mark as Turks finds yet another drop going into the second third of the chart. Things not the most dense. It definitely starts to pick up after this section. So finding it in this quote-unquote mini-jack section. Some of the burst coming through as well catches out both Chinese players. A full combo reset on their side now, and it is now Japan's turn to begin stretching out this advantage. 28,000 points as Butanic finds the first drop going into the back half of the chart, still holding on, but finds a second one here now as Rain Lily picks up the slack and begins to keep this lead in check as everybody falls once again.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, accuracy is still very good on the Japanese side, but I'm honestly the mere fact that we're more surprised to see a miss than not. This goes to show how consistent Japan really has been in core jack, and right now it's paying dividends. The mere fact that Qing Jiding is finding those certain mistakes already on the easier sections is not a good symbol at all, not a good sign at all. And there it goes again.
And then, of course, Rain Lily and Turks trading misses once again. Now, of course, we say easy in the context of this chart because this is a very difficult chart to read through at the end of the day, as we see another couple of breaks coming through here, change down into the low 99% Turks as well. I think this was pretty much done and dusted from the beginning. There's a reason why Japan protected this, because even with the couple of misses coming through on their side, there was hardly a question that this was going to be the most comfortable pick for them, and they notched their first point on the board to make it 3-1.
70,000 points of difference. 140. If you were to add the ratios of Japan, it's literally gonna be much lower than any of the Chinese players. And not to mention, no 200s on Bhutan's side. This easily could have been a V1SS if those mistakes did not happen.
That is the quintessential core jack score, where it's literally just like one chord goes awry. You just flam one of them, it counts 3 misses because you just missed 4 out of them. It's ridiculous. Kudos to them. That's a ridiculous score on that. But it is now China's turn to pick, and they opted to go for Animal Land here. So LN5 coming through.
I think density could actually work for China. I think it does work overall. I mean, anything long notes does. But Japan's density? I do believe Australia lost to Japan on the brink of the density LN pick. I think it was Ghost by Suisei. So, if Japan can be that consistent, then maybe I see a chance. But it's still very minimal considering it is LN.
Yeah, advantage still definitely China on this pick, but you definitely run a risk of bringing your opponent back into the fold on stylistic picks like this, where if the density is high enough, you can kind of start reading it like a rice chart. But that being said, with 7 columns just getting completely massacred with notes to read through, it becomes so hard to keep track of. And then you have these little coordination sections that can cause a spot of bother as well. A lot of staggered releases, a lot of rice notes just kind of littered in between to make some of these patterns either into shields or reverse shields to really make you uncomfortable. And right now, everybody having strong starts, barring Sana, who finds the first drop. Still very early on. This is one of the longer charts in this pool, so plenty of room for recovery, but it is already 8,000 points, 9,000 points in favor of China, with Butanic the next one to fall.
This is 4 minutes long as well, around 4 minutes long, so this 12,000 point advantage is so much more big than it looks. Right now, Van Wilder and CRC Story keeping the same consistency. Like, if there's one player I could count on to not make any mistake, it's definitely gonna be Van Wilder. Like, they're known to be one of the most consistent 7K players. Not to mention Satori has one of the better accuracies too. So this combination on the Chinese side is just going to be really difficult to beat.
Yeah, for sure. Really showing off how good they have been on these LNs so far. Both of them still holding on to their FCs and still holding on to a very balanced performance. That's really been what's been putting them over the line here sometimes, where they're just able to complement each other so well. as Ensana finds yet another drop here going into the back half of the chart. Things gonna calm down just a little bit before flying off the handles once again, but an opportunity to get back up with that 400 combo cap. The good thing about these LN charts is getting back up over 400 is relatively easy. It doesn't take you that long, so you don't bleed too many points. But with Butanic finding a drop before this next section, and another one as well, just slider breaks here and there, not able to really re-establish a foothold in this chart. Gonna help China continue to build on this lead, 29,000 points, and we're only just now getting back into those dense sections.
I mean, yeah, that section is what I would assume Japan really struggle on. And even then, these kinds of patterns, you see those short LNs mixed with the longer ones, and essentially it being a sort of mix of LN release and density, that's what's gonna give Japan some trouble. Despite Van Wilder finding the first drop, I don't think it's really gonna matter too much, especially with Satori keeping that consistency.
Yeah, it really is. Basically, China keeping Japan at arm's length, regardless of what they do. They've just built up enough of a lead that even if the tiniest of mistakes start to come out, they're not in a position to get capitalized upon because of the fact that both Japanese players down into the 98% range compared to China. I mean, when you have a full percent difference between both players, there's really not much you can do. With an eighth of the chart still left to go here, sure, there are a couple of drops now starting to come through from Van Wilder, but Butanic starting to answer those back, and Sana has built up a bit of a combo to try and contest, but I think it's too little too late for Japan to do anything, and China going to be able to close this one out pretty comfortably to make it a fourth point now.
Are we just gonna see casually a full combo from Satori, by the way? Like, you see all those mini jacks and all that, and yet Satori still holding the full combo. Yes! Told you.
Oh my goodness. I was trying my best not to say anything because, oh boy, we sign, seal, and deliver curses almost like it's our job. Satori, that is an incredible run on that. Wow.
Oh my goodness, 974 on a map like this. It's in finals week as well. Very impressive work.
Absolutely. But with that being said, it is going to be Japan up to pick once again. Gonna be interesting to see what they decide to go for. I mean, you've been mentioning Rice 1. I think it might be worth going into. Still pretty standard in terms of stylistic choice. But no, they're going to go for Rice 5 instead. Gonna opt for Clover here.
Oh, Clover. Kind of funny because in the previous World Cup, this was a Ellen pick, at least in the previous Mania World Cup, but that is Mania 4K. So now we're seeing this, but a Rice pick.
Yeah, it's always interesting seeing the approaches people take to the wonderful music that gets produced for these World Cups. So, as you mentioned, we saw the LN variant in the 4-key World Cup. We'll see the Rice variant here in the 7-key World Cup. See how Japan hold up on this, because China's shown that they can take breakpoints off Japan on this side of the map pool. And now the onus falls on Japan to find a response in that lower half, because China's looked very comfortable on those LN picks.
That being said though, they still have a breakpoint of disadvantage. So there's no comfort here really. Even if they've won the previous pick by like 70,000 points, like Japan's own pick, they really have to be aware of the situation right now. And that's the fact that China is up one breakpoint.
Alrighty, so loading into the 6th map of this best of 13. Japan looking to try and continue the streak of winning their own picks. As you mentioned, the onus falling on them to get that breakpoint off China, but gonna need to hold their own on their own picks as well. And right now, strong start for them, both of them holding on to this 99.8, Butanic and Rain Lily. Trying to put in the work here to stave off China because, oh my goodness, they are in prime position to capitalize. should either of these Japanese players falter right now.
Accuracy actually not that far behind. Look at this. I mean, 699 points. It's really only a tenth of a difference here, and that's not gonna be enough for you to be comfortable winning this pick on an already uncomfortable situation.
Yeah, but I mean, when it comes down to it, the margins, when they get down this fine, and we see Qing Jiding not loading back in, I wonder if it's a bit of a connection issue. Things might get a little wild here as we make our way to the ending of this chart. Rain Lily finding the drop as it stands. Butonic finds a drop as well, and thankfully, no disconnections. There's going to be a bit of a delay here. We're going to see potentially the map end a little prematurely here towards the end as things stand, so ignore the 60,000 point lead. If China does pull this back into their favor, it is more than likely a Chinese win. But as it stands, both of their players, 99.2, 99.1, still behind Japan's accuracy, but those misses might actually come into play here as we continue on into the back half of the chart. It is still a debatable 78,000 point lead at the moment for Japan as things stand, but Turks holding on to what I believe is the only full combo in this lobby. As I say that, the long jack catches them out, and Qing Jiding falls as well. A full combo reset on the side of China might have helped restore this lead for Japan as we continue on into the last third of this chart.
I honestly don't know who has the lead right now. It's safe to say Japan has the lead, but this delay is certainly it's not gonna help. It doesn't give the full picture, but if there's any consolation, Botanic does have the clear advantage on Turks, and Rain Lily's accuracy is also ahead. And right now, it's probably trending towards Japan, but anything can happen. We've seen that first Rice pick. We've seen that stuff can really change for the worse, and Japan just has to keep that consistency. Rain Lily finding those couple of misses, certainly not gonna help.
Yeah, for sure, but Botanic really picking up the slack here. Highest accuracy in this lobby. The only player with a substantial combo as Turks, the next one to fall here with an eighth of the chart left to go. I highly doubt there's anything China can do to wrestle this lead back. Yeah, it looks substantial, but that's because there is a delay for anybody just tuning in and seeing 114,000 points. That's gonna shrink a little bit, but I don't think the margin is gonna be as tight as it could be as this chart begins to reach its ending. And what a run from Japan as we wait for the last couple of notes to rain down, see everything trickle down, and like I mentioned, things gonna look a little funky here. It is a 34,000 point win for Japan at the end of the day as they make it 4-2.
Yeah, I mean, 4-2. It's very nice to see Japan still make or break these points, but going for an LN pick again on the China side. Do we still have another LN pick after this though? Can we look at the map pool real quick? No, this is the last pick.
One.
So this could be a shining point for Japan. But remember, if you look at it on the bright side, or a big picture, I mean, if this were to be China's win, let's say, okay, 5-2, China only needs 2 points to win. So the pressure on their side is going to be much, much lower now. But wait a second, we're seeing Rain Lily play this.
Yeah, maybe a bit of a tactical substitution. Maybe the style of this LN chart plays a little bit better for Rain Lily as opposed to Ansana, who we've been seeing on these LN picks. So, bit of a switch up here for Japan. Maybe a pick they've been hoping for to try and pull a fast one on China. We'll have to wait and see as we make our way into the final LN pick of this match.
And yeah, this is the kind of... Wait a second! Japan has a slight advantage, but that's really mainly because of Van Wilder's accuracy being behind Rain Lily. Botanics around that, but now this is when they're gonna start to take a few hits Japan's gonna start to drop accuracy even further. Botanics, look at Botanics you are. Some of them are very centered and some are just not. That's indication of not being consistent with long notes in general. And really finding a couple of misses is gonna give China a lot to hit.
Oh, it was a very strong start for Japan, able to eke out a tiny bit of a lead, but right now the consistency from China on these LNs really coming to a forefront here to wrestle that lead back as we take the first real break in this song. 14,000 points the advantage for this Chinese roster. Satori and Van Wilder looking to try and make it 4 for 4 on these LN picks, as they both carry a 99.3% accuracy. Again, another very balanced team performance from them, despite the best efforts of Botanic to try and mount some sort of comeback. Both of the Japanese players holding on to this 98% accuracy, not really in a position to make a dent in this lead, as Rain Lily finds another couple of drops here, and that's going to help extend a 14,000 point lead to 30,000 as Satori finally finds a drop in response, but damage already done going into the last quarter here.
I already said this a while ago, but Van Wilder, the one player you can count on to not make misses, this is the guy who you really rely on. They've been, again, I keep saying this, but like, they're just a very consistent player in general. Botanic actually is the other full combo in this lobby, funnily enough. Rain Lily just unfortunately not able to keep up, which is fair because these long notes are really difficult.
Yeah, for sure. They had a very strong start to start this map off, just unfortunately not able to carry that through till the end. 2.5 minutes, a little bit too long for them to wrestle with. As this chart comes to an end, China makes it a successful 4 to 4 on the LN category, despite the best efforts of Japan to try and throw a spanner in the works. An FC from Van Wilder to put a nice little bow on the proceedings there, and they make it 5 to 2 now.
It's really cool to see players like Botanic hold the full combo on this kind of map. Like, go to show how versatile 7K players really are. Like, even those who are quote-unquote more known to be LN players, sorry, more known to be Rise players, they can do stuff like this. I mean, it's kind of really a given that 7K players are also pretty proficient on LNs. But now we're seeing Rise 7 Chimi Morio. Alright, I believe this is the technical map that's like 4 minutes long, something like that.
Yeah, a bit of a stamina check here coming through for Japan, maybe trying to wear out their Chinese counterparts a little bit as we make our way through, because now China's at a bit of a crossroads. There are no more LN picks. They're gonna have to go into these hybrids. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw Hybrid 3 come out for their next pick, but I mean, they definitely have some options to consider moving forward here.
Well, 4 minutes and 17 seconds of tech. I mean, this is the kind of pick that I would expect Japan to just really have an advantage on. But the consistency of China is something we should never, ever underestimate. We've seen them be able to hold that consistency for long periods of time. And if they can do that here, then I think they can really make some noise. 6-2 is a bad position you'd want to be in if you're Japan. But 5-3, very possible. There are only hybrids left for China to pick, I believe. At least if we're going that route.
Yeah, for sure. So, arguably one of the more important picks in this match for Japan. Definitely do not want to give this one up, but you can imagine they have the advantage going into this. But we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, technicality is something I would assume Japan has a clear advantage on, considering the act difference between both teams.
That being said, Turksa has been able to really stand toe-to-toe with the likes of Botanic and Rain Lily in terms of accuracy, and the fact that they're able to hold on to some pretty outstanding combos as well. But right now, Jinji Ding going to find the first drop for China, going to give Japan a bit of a cushion to work with. It is only about 3,000 points, but this early on, it could quickly spiral out of control.
it's clearly on the Japanese side. Act-wise, look at Patat, 99.91. Alright, to start things off.
Yeah, this is the style
Like,
of
this
pick
is already
that they
dense
thrive on.
Very impressive work right now from everyone because, okay, never mind. There was already one miss from Shinji Ding and another one. Super unfortunate, but this is still 11,000 points. Very possible. I mean, we've seen Rain Lily find some drops, but Turks finding it. Another one. Oh no, this is not good. Like, China just has a full reset on the combo right now.
That being said, Rainley does answer one of those back, so 3 FCs in this lobby now gone. Butanic the only one left standing and holding on to the highest accuracy in this lobby by a quite considerable margin, about 3/10 ahead of their next closest player, and that is their teammate in Rainlily. And the fact that both Japanese players are holding on to this higher accuracy than their Chinese counterparts, both of them in that low 99% range, is just going to allow them a lot of free time to really stretch this advantage. 20,000 points already. Any more mistakes from China is going to help exacerbate this lead. But that being said, Butanic finds their first drop of this chart going into the back half, and that helps put a tiny dent in this lead. About 4,000 points gone already in the blink of an eye as we continue on here.
Yeah, it's actually starting to get closer after that miss. But that accuracy difference is just not gonna cut it. If Japan is gonna be able to keep this accuracy lead, then this could really well on to be their victory. But really, that's a massive drop. Okay, one miss I think would be around 2,000 points loss or 1,000 points if you're in the Japan. But every miss on China's side is just gonna increase it a lot more than if Japan were to miss, because the accuracy advantage is clearly on Japan right now. And these patterns, these are the kind of patterns I think China's gonna struggle on.
Yeah, all these flams, grace notes coming through here, just taking everybody for a bit of a ride here. Both Chinese players finding a couple of misses. Butanic as well, not immune to the drops as well. Still holding on to the highest accuracy when all is said and done, and that's really helping keep Japan ahead in these exchanges. But with a quarter of the map left to go, I mean, all it takes is one real rough section and things could get really close here at this ending. But still, imagine it's Japan's point to lose at this point.
We're at 20,000 points something of an advantage, and it's really looking like a comfortable Japan win. But Rain Lily's drop, that's not gonna matter too much. Again, like what I said, these are the patterns that you really expect Japan to just have an advantage on. Not to mention, consistency is also gonna be a problem on China's side right now. Because in this map, it really looks like Japan's the more comfortable pick easily, and they're able to take advantage of it completely. I think they're gonna put themselves in the 5-3 position, barring no bad things happen. There we go.
Yeah, overall a very, very strong pick from Japan. Looked a little bit close there at certain stretches at that introduction, but once they established that lead, there really was no relinquishing it there. And similar to how we've been singing the praises of China being really consistent as a team on those LM picks, Japan really putting it together on these Rice picks after that first little bit of a fumble on Rice 2. And now with China up to pick, they're going to go for Hybrid 2 here.
Okay, so yeah, they're going for Hybrid 2. Why do I feel like Japan really has a shot here?
I mean, they're out of the world of LNs, and with these hybrids, I always like to say it's like the onus falls on the LN-oriented team to be able to withstand the Rice difficulty that gets found in the hybrid picks, because of the fact that some of these have different level of Rice difficulty. If they're not able to withstand that onslaught, and Japan can kind of eke their way through the LN section without taking too much damage, they can put themselves in a really good position to capitalize if China isn't careful. Still advantage China on these style of picks, but would not put it past Japan to be able to sneak at least one of these hybrids away from China if they're not too careful.
Tonight we fly. So we're seeing Turks and Van Wilder. Honestly, this is I think the first time we're seeing this combination on this match. Like usually we'd see Turks and Ching Jiding, but instead we're seeing Turks and Van Wilder, which is I think absolutely the right call to make. Van Wilder, very consistent player. I think they're putting in Van Wilder so they can avoid the misses from affecting the chances of Japan trying to take a break point.
Yeah, maybe just trying to offset the LN difficulty, just bring somebody in who has a little bit more well-roundedness as we begin to dive into this chart. Turks and Rainlily trading through this introduction. Turks pick up an extra one for the road, but Rainlily trades it back immediately thereafter and now ships one back their way. And China, despite giving them that lead a little bit early, it's going to become a bit of a tug of war now as neither of them want to establish a bit of a foothold in this chart. It is now a cross-map battle. Turks and Rainlily going against Butanic and Van Wilder. Right now, Butanix winning the battle against Van Wilder, but the accuracy discrepancy between Turks and Rainlily is offsetting that and allowing China to keep this 6,000 point advantage.
That being said, though, this is not that far of a difference at all. But wait a second, Rainlily finding a couple of drops. That is not gonna help. But wait a second, Turks and Rainlily are trading. See, this is what I was talking about. Look at Van Wilder. That consistency is what they absolutely need right now.
Yeah, right now, them being able to FC their way through this as they find a full lobby reset now at this point. No harm, no foul at the end of the day, but it does put a significant dent in this Chinese lead as Rainlily ships that lead right back. 8,000 points now in favor of China, but Van Wilder's now starting to find some drops, and they needed to keep their head above water against Butanic. Butanic now above that 400 combo cap as everybody else trying to establish a bit of a foothold, but again, another full lobby reset, and it's now Turks taking up the mantle here. What is happening?
Wait, this can still be a Japan win, but time is running out and we're in an Ellen section. Can things took a turn? Oh my goodness, 6,000, I think that's it really. Even with Botanic's performance, but I think Japan has to keep their heads up high here because we see a chance for them to take a point. Amazing, nice miss.
It happens. I mean, you concentrate for 99% of that chart. I mean, something has to give at some point, but like we were saying, the damage was already done. It got really close for comfort there for Japan at certain points. Japan actually holding on to a lead at certain points during this chart, but just not able to see it through to the end, and China make it a match point situation. It is 6-3 with Japan up to pick now. What do you go for here?
Japan has to pick rice. Absolutely. The only choice they have right now is rice. I don't really think they have any other way. But let's look at the
Clearly,
rice map.
yes.
Well, I think it's rice 1 that's still open. And rice 6 actually. Okay. So let's look at this in the big picture. China has 1 pick. Japan has 2 picks including this one. So, in some way, on a tactical side, Japan actually has the upper hand when it comes to maps available. Because we saw Hybrid, there's a potential for Japan to take one of those. And China is sort of showing their fatigue and weakness already. Like, I don't know, I've noticed this, but fatigue is starting to kick in.
Absolutely, these are some incredibly hard maps, so understandably we'll start to see a couple of drops here and there from folks that have been performing incredibly well, but I mean, at the end of the day, like, these maps are hard to get through unscathed, and they just make it look so easy sometimes that we just kind of take it for granted. It's like, oh wait, they did an FC, oh wait, like we need to understand that, like, these are some incredible scores we're seeing on display here, and we see the more rice-oriented rosters make their reappearance. Qing Jiding and Turks for China, Butanic and Rainlily basically holding down the 4 for Japan now, as their adjustments kind of starting to work out here a little bit as we make our way into Qatar. And we'll see if Japan can make this 6-4 or China can close this out and set up a date with the Philippines.
Man, if you know, either way, like, okay, before I go into that, so we're seeing Rice 6 here right now. And I do think Japan, at least on the big picture, they seem to have an upper hand for this. Because we already saw in the technical picks, they can win those. But consistency has still been a little bit of a question mark, really. Because look at right now. I mean, look, China has the advantage based on accuracy alone. And that hasn't really been the story on Rice.
Oh, and Botanic finding the first drop here. Gonna give China a bit more of a cushion to work with. You were mentioning it's like China already taking a lead based on the accuracy alone, and Turks does eventually trade it back. That's the highest accuracy in this lobby. Now falling or losing their FC could potentially make things a little bit closer as we continue on here, moving on into the second third of the chart. It is only 3,400 points as we continue on here. There is a window of opportunity for Japan to claw this back. Not out of it just yet, but gonna need to start really picking up the performance here and building up some accuracy. Randomly starting to cancel out Qing Jijing, and Botanic starting to get the advantage up over Turks because of the fact that they have the FC as well, and they now claw the lead back into their favor, but it is not a comfortable lead by any stretch of the imagination now.
It's that accuracy lead, and not to mention that miss from Qing Jiding. But Rayleigh trades one back, and so we're back at square one. This has been the same non-existent lead we've seen throughout this whole match, but I think it's trending. I don't know who it's trending towards right now. Well, there's my answer.
It's trending towards China. Botanic finding the drop in the transition into these Grace Note bursts, and China going to be able to run with it. Both their players up over that 400 combo cap, going to be able to stretch this advantage to about 4,200 points as we take stock of the situation. I mean, Rain Lily has the accuracy advantage, but I don't think they have the combo advantage at this point, and Turks definitely has the combo advantage over Botanic at the moment. They do finally make it up at the 400 combo cap. They are starting to chip away at this lead. It is 2,800 points. It is a sliver of Charlotte to go. Botanic and Turks trade. Oh,
Is it
goodness.
gonna be enough? Oh, but really,
finds the drop. No.
that was a massive mistake on Ray Lily's side, and that does it. The consistency was too much for Japan to overcome that. Accuracy-wise, wait a second. 200 count actually slightly goes to China on that one. So, that was such a interesting turn of events, but that does it. China takes it 7-3.
Oh my goodness, what a match. Some electrifying performances. Japan giving it everything that they could to try and take down this very formidable Chinese roster, but at the end of the day, it will be China punching their ticket into the second half of finals weekend, setting up that showdown with the Philippines. And we have a confirmed time for that. That will be taking place tomorrow at 13:30 UTC. So same time as this match, just tomorrow. So definitely want to stay tuned for that. But with that being said, that will do it for this block of 2 matches. What a amazing start to finals weekend, and it's only going to get better. Because at 12 UTC tomorrow, we have our winners finals. It is going to be the almost perennial champions in South Korea looking to punch their ticket into grand finals, going up against Malaysia. Arguably the most dynamic duo remaining in this tournament. But Emily, do you have anything else left to add before we start closing this out?
Wow, I don't know why, but these matches look so familiar. Because if I'm not mistaken, this is exactly how 2022 MWC went. Korea, Malaysia at the top of the winners bracket, and the losers bracket for third place, China, Philippines. So we're seeing 2 rematches, really.
Yeah, a lot of scores to settle, a lot of narratives to be written. Definitely do not want to miss it. But before we go, everybody knows that the second best thing about this game is decorating your profile. And what better way to decorate your profile than buying a banner from the OS store to show your support for the remaining countries left in this tournament. We just bid farewell to Japan and Thailand. Guess what? You can still buy a banner for them or any of the other teams that were eliminated in this tournament so far, because all your contributions go towards making this event bigger and better and helps increase the contributions that we give to the players that end up on the podium at the end of the tournament. And all for the low cost of $2.50 USD. And as an added bonus, did you know that if you choose the winner of this year's Mania 7 Key World Cup, you get to keep that banner for just that little longer after the tournament is over. And if you're indecisive, like me, can't choose between your favorite countries, you can just buy as many of the banners as you want. So you can have all 24. And who knows? One of those 24 teams is going to win. You're going to have one of those banners on your profile for just that little bit longer. So why not go to the O store and pick up a banner today? Emily, you got anything else left to add?
Well, do I have anything else to add? I mean, I just hope tomorrow will bring us another set of insane matches just like how we saw today. I'm excited to see the effort and whatever everyone's prepared here. And
Yep,
man, I just really hope to see some amazing matches tomorrow.
absolutely. But until then, we'll catch you guys later.